Hi guys, I'm Laura Vitale, and on this episode of Laura in the Kitchen, I want to show you how I make my homemade chicken stock. I've had a lot of people over the years ask if I could share it with you. It's really so basic and simple, but I figured it's worth sharing if you really want the chickeniest chicken stock in the world. This is how I do it, and I'll share with you sort of the reasons why I do it this way. There's not much to it, but I promise you it is going to deliver the best chicken stock ever. And if you are feeling like, especially when it's like in the colder months, there are days where I just love to dedicate them to the kitchen. So I'll do a big thing of chicken stock, a big thing of vegetable stock, and then just like if I have some time, I'll do some beef stock and then keep it in the freezer. I am one of those Italian women with an extra freezer in the garage, and I'm so proud of it, you have no idea. And it's right now stockpiled with chicken stock, pastas, doughs, you name it. To make it, you don't need very much. What I have here are some onions. This is one large onion that you can see I've peeled the outer layer, and then I just kept the remaining peel on and I just quartered it. 4 cloves of garlic unpeeled, and a few stalks of celery that those are just roughly chopped. Salt, peppercorns, and you're gonna need your chicken. I have a whole chicken here. This is a 5-pound roast, 5-pound whole chicken. And I have about 1 tablespoon of olive oil. Really easy. The first thing you want to do is get your chicken prepped. I like to take all the giblets out, but I leave the neck on because that gives me tons and tons of flavor. You get that all rinsed, patted dry, ready to go. Then you take a big pot. You put about a tablespoon or so of olive oil, and you want to get that really nice and hot. And the reason is because I am going to add my chicken right to my hot pot. Make sure that you dry it off a little bit, because you want it to develop a little bit of golden brown color, because that's going to infuse your stock and give you such a lovely rich flavor. So I'm going to let that develop some color on both sides, and then we'll proceed. It is loud too. Start adding your water. You're going to need quite a bit. This makes quite a bit of stock. I would say in total it'll make a good between 16 and 20 cups of stock. I'm going to add some more in just a bit, but for now I'm going to add some salt, which it's so important that you add a healthy pinch of salt. It's not going, you don't want to add enough to make it really salty, but if you don't add salt or even enough salt, it's going to be really bland and not give you a very rich flavor. Then I like to add some peppercorns. And you'll notice I'm not adding any herbs or any carrots to this for multiple reasons. To me, carrots add just a little too much sweetness, and I don't want that in my chicken stock. I want it to be as pure chickeny as possible. I always say I want the chickeniest chicken stock. And herbs can be quite overpowering. So if I add rosemary to this, if I add thyme to this, I feel very limited to where I can use it. I like a very plain, but yet very bold and very robust chicken stock that doesn't get overpowered by the herbs and sweetness of carrots. That's why I don't add any of this here. But the most important thing to my chicken stock is searing it on both sides, getting some good color. I got some more water too. Getting some good color, and giving it time, plenty of time to simmer. This, at this point, needs to simmer on low heat, covered for a good 4.5 hours or so, really, really low. You can also, at this point, once you've seared your chicken, place it in a crock pot and let it go for like 8 to 12 hours, and it would be amazing. But you would need a crock pot quite big enough to fit all that liquid. So what I'm going to do at this point, I'm going to add a little more water. You always want to make sure that your chicken is submerged, and just let it simmer low and slow for several hours, and I will show you what it looks like when it's done. My beautiful stock was simmering for about 4.5 hours on really low heat, because what you don't want is for the water to sort of evaporate. You want to keep it covered and just sort of simmer it low and slow for a long time. Now what I've done is I've taken my chicken out. You can see it's totally falling apart. I mean, it's just, the skin is falling apart. The meat itself is just beautifully tender. I love that I have a huge poached chicken that I can use throughout my week in different meals, and I've got my beautiful stock. Now you want to, at this point, you want to drain it, and you have a couple of choices. As you can see on the very, very top, there is a layer of fat. I don't want that in my chicken stock. I don't want that into my final product. So you can do one or of a few things. the first thing you can do is you can take a ladle and just slowly but surely just sort of do what I'm doing now, and you're kind of just skimming off the fat. You can also put this through a fat separator, kind of like what you would use to make turkey gravy, to sort of separate the fat from the stock or whatnot. What the best thing to do is what I'm going to do. What you do is you take this whole pot, you let it cool, of course, cover it, put it in the fridge overnight. What happens is the fat will solidify on the very, very top, and then you will be able to skim it off and discard it, and then you can take your stock and then you can put it into containers and keep it in the fridge or freezer until whenever your heart desires. That's what I'm going to do, but I'm not going to show you that because it's quite boring. But I just want you to take a look at the color of the stock. You can see it's lovely and rich and really beautifully clear. It doesn't have a lot of stuff running through it. When you taste it, it should taste very sort of rich in that chicken flavor, but very subtle in everything else, which is what I like in a stock. So that's pretty much it. And my suggestion will be to make a couple of pots of this at a time, put it in the sort of quart containers and keep it in the freezer, and then you can have homemade chicken stock on hand for whenever you like. Now, you know me, I don't always make my own. I am a big believer in buying, a store-bought stock because I'm a normal person, and why not? It's a really good it's really good that you can buy it already pre-made at the grocery store. But if you've got the time, by all means, make a pot or two and you'll be in stock heaven. I hope you found this video helpful. Let me know down below what other basics that you would like to see. That's something I'm really hoping to get more into in this upcoming year, is showing you more basics, because I feel like once you have your basics, it's kind of like having a really good staple in your wardrobe, but you can do so many different things with it. So I'm really hoping to gather a nice list from you and get going. Go to laurainthekitchen.com to get the recipe written, all the instructions and everything. I hope you enjoy spending time with me, and I will see you very soon. Bye-bye.